Fans, welcome to Sports Chat. Got something a little bit different, but still football related. I've got Tony Begley with me, who is the new owner of
the East Tennessee Spartans.
The East Tennessee Spartans. I wasn't sure exactly what you call it. So, now, you all are a semi-pro football team.
Yes, sir.
And right now, you're based kind of between here and Claiborne County, because I know we talked to you Friday night at the Campbell County game. And you all, as of this month, will probably be playing at Cumberland Gap.
Hopefully, right now we would like to pursue Campbell County Field. That's a beautiful field right here in the middle of everything. But if we cannot get a hold of Campbell County Field, we'll probably end up in Cumberland Gap.
Yeah, and that's a nice field too. I've got a soft spot in my heart for Cumberland Gap. I spent some time up there when Sean Jesse was there. I know the place well. But let's talk about the team a little bit. This is a semi-pro team, and it's an actual league, just to compare it to the big one, like the NFL.
Yeah, it's called the Imperial Football League. It was started by Greg Campbell, the owner of the Knoxville Knights, that played here in 2007, I believe.
Played at Jacksboro, Chris Johnson, Travis Leach, and a couple of those guys.
Exactly. Chris Johnson was actually my big inspiration to start this team, because I knew when he came here and played for the Knoxville Knights and brought it home to Campbell County, it was huge. And now as a kid, I was in middle school when I seen that, and being able to be 21-year-old now and seeing that I can bring that back home to Campbell County, somewhere that everybody has a soft spot for Campbell County. We all love it here in one way or another. So that's really what compelled me to bring this back.
And I say this a lot to people. Football is that one sport that it's very hard to get back at here in your high school days.
Right.
I mean, you can always find a men's basketball league. You can always find a men's softball league if you were a baseball player. For the most part with football, you basically got to find a rugby league a lot of places.
Right. And Chris DeMont actually asked me 2 years ago, I believe it was, to come and play rugby with him. And that's when I finally found out about the Imperial Football League from Greg Campbell. He said, hey, the Tennessee Crusaders are the only team around. Would you like to come play? I said, of course. Last year, I took 1 year off because, as you knew, I had a huge knee surgery and had to bounce back from that. I took 1 year off and went and played for the Tennessee Crusaders, and we won a championship out of it. It's just hard to travel that far to play for a team. So I figured, why not save up a little bit of money, put it together, bring it home, and have fun in my own backyard instead of traveling forever.
How many players are on one of the semi-pro teams as a general rule?
A general rule is you have to have 60 players. Well, the 60 players is your max that you're allowed to have on one team.
In the NFL, you have 53.
Right.
I didn't know how many you all had.
We're trying to, as of right now, on the roster, we have 21 players from Oak Ridge all the way to Cumberland Gap, even some Alcoa players. We're trying to kind of expand that a little bit. We have a couple players that are in the Army right now that can't play or playing in a Nashville league. We also have 2 players that played in the SEC, hopefully coming to come play. Not really looking at that right now, but what I am looking at is the top 21 that we do have. They're really good players, really fast, really strong. This right here is Joseph DeJulian from Cumberland Gap. He was the star defensive end down there. I got a hold of him through Cody Webb, which is Scott Webb's son from Jacksboro, the line coach. They're both my defensive ends right now, and they brought a lot of players that I've never got to see, because I was always in Knoxville or Campbell County doing something. So it's expanding fast, quick, and it's getting strong. And hopefully after this, everybody will know where we're at.
Did you mention you were going to have tryouts at some point soon?
Tryouts are going to be this Saturday and every Saturday until December the 1st at Cove Lake State Park at 3 o'clock. It's $25 to cover your insurance. Cannot stress that enough. We pay for full coverage insurance through April to April. So if you break a finger, you tear your ACL, something, the IFL does pay for it.
That's actually an excellent deal.
That's an amazing deal. I mean, if you love to play football, a lot of people do love to play football, but you're worried you're going to get hurt. You're covered now, so go out and try out for it and play.
Now, you mentioned, this is a very big football area. Obviously you got Campbell County up there. You just go a little bit, you go down to Anderson County, you've got Anderson County High School. Got Clinton High School, and of course you got Oak Ridge, and there's a lot of football tradition right there.
Right. And that's why, this is, when I very first met all the guys that are on my team now, that was the very thing I stressed was this is a football breeding ground. Because you're not going to find people that love football much more than you do in Campbell and Anderson County. I mean, from me, myself being a Cougar, when Coach Wells was there, the passion is there. You bleed blue and orange. And just to see that, just like the turnout at the Anderson County game, everybody knows that is huge, but they know that they love the game.
Well, I mean, we talk about, you played at Cumberland Gap. I know Cumberland Gap well. Sean Jesse, of course, he's not there anymore, but, he coached there for a long time. Dear friend of mine. I used to go up and watch Cumberland Gap games a lot before the times reopened, and I started covering Campbell County again. And they played some good football up there, and I know they're your rivals, but Claiborne County High School, also a lot of football there. Back in the middle school days, of course, we went up and played SMMS.
Yeah.
And those folks, I mean, it's there as far as.
Millsboro usually has a really good high school football team. That's not a far trip for them to Cumberland Gap. It's 10 minutes away.
Right, and right now we actually have, I think, 6 or 7 linemen from anywhere from Cumberland Gap to Middlesboro to Claiborne. We have a linebacker from Claiborne that's looking really promising, really big, strong, fast, knows a lot of good defense. We actually posted a bunch of posters around Anderson County. We went to, I don't know if you guys know where Southern Fitness is.
I do.
We talked to them. They're going to let Spartans work out for free in Clinton, up there in Clinton. We were actually practicing under the Green Bridge for a while until, the softball started and stuff like that. So we decided to move it here, and because honestly, if you think about it, that's a halfway mark from Knoxville to Cumberland Gap. So.
And Cove Lake's you've got plenty of room there. You can practice and have plenty of room and not bother the other people in the park. I mean, we practice rugby there. I see soccer games there all the time. I actually at one point almost put together my own football team years ago that would have practiced there. It would have actually been a travel team similar to like Knoxville does with it after my unfortunate departure from Jacksboro before I came back during the Sean Jesse Rodney Ellison years.
Right.
I was actually going to try to start a competing football program. But, that's big. You mentioned the Campbell-Anderson County game. That was huge Friday night. You were there. I said you played it completely under Coach Wells. Or did you have it under Coach Price?
I played for 1 year total at Campbell County.
But it was during the Wells.
Yes, under Coach Wells. I played for the Gibbs High School for 3. But like I said, that's why I came home. Campbell County, you cannot get it out of you. It's huge. When you're on that stadium up on the hill, it's huge. I love it. The Anderson County game was the most intense environment I've been in a long time.
I mean, that was a game. I mean, people have already been talking about Campbell County for the last couple of years. That game really, even with it being a loss, was a very high water mark for the program because they played a complete game, fought pretty much to the end, and of course, now we talked on the fence. I don't know if you ever made it to the stadium, but of course John was in the press box. There were points where these stadiums shook.
Yeah, it was big. I would estimate the crowd at around 7,000 people. Not got any official number, 7,500 maybe. Brought in extra bleachers. They were lined around the track. It was just
brought in extra restroom facilities, set up a second concession stand. I mean, it had that playoff or small college atmosphere.
Oh yeah.
People around here do love football. That's why I think that if you all put your product on the field, I believe you'll get support for it. And they love it at Cumberland Gap. I know you said you may be playing your home games at Cumberland Gap. Patrick said we've been to several Cumberland Gap games. We always have a big crowd, nice support up there. And it's, you follow these players in high school, you get to follow them again, in this league.
And it is a big deal because, like I said, not everybody gets to go to college and do it, and not everybody gets to pursue it after college. I mean, it's a very, very small percentage of people that leave college and then go to the NFL.
What is your game day? Will it be on a Saturday?
Every game day will be on a Saturday, ranging from 5 to 7 o'clock, depending on how long the travel is for the team. If anybody wants to know anything, any scheduling, any what the uniforms look like. There is a Facebook page, the East Tennessee Spartans. And there's also the Imperial Football League website. Just type in Imperial Football League. If you type in Google IFL, it'll show up Indoor Football League. So,
Matter of fact, when I upload the video, I'll put this in the video description. I'll put both links in there.
okay, that'd be awesome. We do have a couple, small sponsors, and I didn't give permission to say any names or anything like that. So I will say that we are open to anybody. So if you guys, if it just, $1 here, $1 there, we're always welcome for anybody, or just a name on the shirt. If we're also going to, I was going to announce this also, we also are going to implement a family night. The first game is going to be free, always. That's why I want to bring that to attention first, because I want everybody to see what we have. You have always got to give before you get. And I want to give this football program a chance, and I want you guys to give it a chance. The first game will be free to everybody. I'm not going to say the concessions will be free depending on where we're at, but I myself as the owner, I'm going to say, nobody has to pay any money to come see our first game.
Now, and this is you mentioned like you're in a technical dead period right now. You can't full pad practice or anything. You're a spring league, correct?
Yes.
So it's not going to be, you're not going to have to worry about, oh gosh, Tennessee's on, or oh gosh, whatever team is winning and I'm the bandwagon fan of this week is on. Miss that. This is going to be in the spring when there's no football on TV.
Yeah, when there's no
Unless,
football.
Maybe some Canadian, but that's Canadian.
Yeah, we're not going to, there is fall leagues that we kind of touched on maybe getting into, because we were afraid we wouldn't make the deadlines for this one. But we got everything together. We're playing in the spring because, like he said, there's no Tennessee football. There's no anything honestly on besides soccer and track. May possibly, I don't know if the Olympics are.
There's some baseball, but
yeah.
you miss a baseball game, there's 189 more of them.
Exactly. Yeah, what we're gonna try to do is, it's honestly the free day is Saturday for most people. We're gonna try to do. There's gonna be some games postponed and stuff like that, but full schedules are on the IFL website. What we're gonna try to do is bring everybody, everything to attention around January 24th. That's when I'm hoping to have my full schedule and everything, and I'm going to post that in the Fall Press. That'll show you every home game, every away game, where we're going to be, what time, and actually what we're going to try to do also, if we can. I've been talking to, I don't know if you guys know who Jeff Profit is. Mm-hmm. He's the one doing our jerseys this year.
Jeff does really good work.
He does. He showed me a couple products from the fall middle school, and they look amazing.
I saw the stuff he did for that Battle of Rocky Top.
Oh yeah, that was
good looking jerseys.
Really good looking jerseys, and that's the jerseys we're actually going with. We are red and black and chrome. So we're going to try to take that and implement it into wherever we're going. We're not going to try to paint any fields or nothing like that. Use our emblem because it's not ours. If we had somewhere like Powell Valley Elementary School that's not being used anymore,
right, we
would do that. But we're trying to keep it, civil, home, and not try to say, well, we're taking over. So
right, because with the passion that comes with high school football, that's the kind of thing that can actually turn people off.
Exactly.
I will give a big shout out to Cumberland Gap High School for letting you all do this. A lot of people are very protective of their fields. And Cumberland Gap, that's really, really nice of them to allow this.
As of right now, they haven't said yes completely yet, but our coach, J.R. Lorenz, he actually owns an auto body shop up in Cumberland Gap. Very good coach. Actually had a full ride to UT at one point, so he knows his football.
I swear, if it's the guy I think it is, I think years ago I did a wrestling show up there, maybe in his parking lot.
I think you're right. J.R. Lorenz.
There was several of the wrestlers that I worked with that lived in the Cleveland County area, and one of them's like, I got a buddy who's got an auto body shop. He said that we'd use their parking lot. I'm like,
Right.
So I'm willing to bet it's the same fellow.
If you can get support like that from somebody who went to UT, that's a huge deal.
Yeah. There was another guy, I don't know if you guys may or may not know him. He kind of became like a big brother to me last year. His name's Cody Harrell. Played at University of Auburn. He played running back for the Tennessee Crusaders last year. He went to San Diego State after that, and then went to the AFL.
I remember when he was at Auburn briefly.
He's like
before he went to San Diego. I didn't know whatever happened to him after Auburn.
Yeah, he had, you know, a couple of troubles grade-wise and stuff like that. He took me in and taught me how to do this IFL stuff. That's why I'm doing it. He was actually supposed to come play, but he lives all the way in Nashville, and he got an offer to play in the European League.
You know, you can't fault him for that. I mean,
Right.
that's, like I said, when you get an offer like, well, it's not the NFL Europe anymore, but there are pockets of Europe where football's still huge.
Right.
Well, there are places, people look through things like this. I mean, Kurt Warner came out of the Iowa Barnstormers and won a Super Bowl and played another Super Bowl. You never know what level of football player you're going to find. It's just, I mean, Kurt Warner was working in the grocery store.
Yeah, that's actually one of the big things we've heard, you know, rumor-wise, is the Knoxville Nighthawks, excuse me. You know, they haven't really had a winning record in a while or such like that. There was an offer put up that whoever the best semi-professional team is, we might have a chance to try out up there, to be part of the Nighthawks.
The Nighthawks, I mean, I've actually not been to one of their games, but I've got a really good friend that does photography. That's how I know we do photography. He does a lot of their photography, and he's been trying to get me to go to a game there forever. It just never really meshes with my schedule.
Right.
Because, you know, right now, especially my focus, like we were talking before we came around, my focus right now is Jacksonville Fall Middle School football and Cougar football. You know, that's what we do. That's what we cover. And you got a lot of fans that, you know, look for their videos, their articles, their pictures, and you know, it's hard to get away from that, and you know, and even do justice to the other sports that are going on, like volleyball, cross country, girls soccer, and all that. But you know, now knowing that all this is going on, I can start, you know, helping, you know, slowly build. We can do these interviews. You know, we've got the Times Online, which you can post this stuff in. It's got worldwide reach, and it's got a very large regional audience.
The Times actually has a user-submitted story section. If you want to post your schedule on there,
You can just send it to me, and I'll get it.
We can definitely.
I would actually put it in the sports proper.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we pride ourselves on our football coverage.
Oh yeah. I actually talked to David Graham, I'm going to say a little over a month ago, I think. He was supposed to come. He didn't say he could make it. He said that he would try to make it to the first Spartan trial that we had. At that time, we were called the Anderson County Spartans, but knowing that, you know, Campbell County people really wouldn't want to.
Right.
Yeah. We decided to change our name to East Tennessee, but David Graham was actually the very first person to hear about us, and that's when I asked Cody to get a hold of you as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I grew up right next to you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we just missed each other at Jacksboro, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Now, in this league, are you the only team from East Tennessee in it, or are some of the Knoxville area teams in it?
We have, as of right now, East Tennessee Spartans are the only East Tennessee team there. Kingsport does have the Tennessee Crusaders, and Greenville does have the Tennessee Grizzlies. If they haven't, you know, if either team haven't folded, I did see that they were having open tryouts. But the rest of these teams are more of out of state, because what we're trying to do is make this an SEC caliber type, you know, environment. Not, you know, really just saying, you know, Southeast Conference or anything like that. What I'm saying is anything from the South, West Virginia, any borderline states with Tennessee, Alabama, you know, West Virginia, Virginia, anything like that, they're going to be in this league. We have teams starting up every single day. So in by December 1st, we'll know exactly who every single team is.
Now, you mentioned there was a West Virginia team.
Yes.
They were pretty darn good.
When I played for the Tennessee Crusaders last year, I played a mixture of safety and middle linebacker, but kind of like the bandit of the nickel defense and stuff like that. West Virginia was this team that we weren't afraid of, but we knew that they were coming.
Right, they were kind of like the Oak Ridge.
They were, yes.
Or the Oak Ridge is a good example. They're that team that, you know, year in and year out have that
Core.
Yeah.
I will say this: if you have teams in Greenville and in Kingsport, I know that we used to play the Key Sport area teams in Campbell County. They field good football. You used to play against Greenville, I assume, and Greene County teams, and we all know that they're powerhouse state championship level too. So there are going to be some good players in these leagues.
Oh yeah, I seen a player last year. I got in and actually had to play tailback for a couple plays. He was 6'9", 380 pounds, and he played for the Arizona Cardinals in the '90s. And I've never been hit that hard in my life. I'll tell you.
That's a lot. That's a lot of
beef.
man.
Yeah, but the good thing about this is they are professional people. They don't intend to hurt you. They don't try to make sure that you look, dumb on TV or anything like that. Or they're actually out there just like you are to have fun, to play the game. The love of the game is what brings you there.
Now, this is going to seem like a little bit of an out there question. Where do you get your referees from for a league like this? Do you know right off as a new owner?
Well,
something's come up yet?
They have, actually there's I know this is kind of funny to say, but there's kind of like a Craigslist for referees in Knoxville.
Really?
There is. I can't remember the exact website, but it's people that, sometimes they're 19-year-old boys. Sometimes they're, 53-year-old men. It's kind of funny to watch, who comes in. But Greg Campbell actually turned me on to some referees, but it's not like you pick the ones from Campbell County, the closest. Right. You have to pay them for their
right, just like
out.
I was talking to actually Coach Webb earlier about, just the broad array of referees you run into. I was wondering how it worked.
The referees are, I don't know if you guys, I know being growing up in the '90s and 2001, 2, we had PlayStation 2. If you guys remember Blitz, the football league, that is this league made over. That is, if I could explain it any different, help me with it. But Blitz, the football league, explains this exactly. It's a hard-hitting game. They do protect you, with the face masks and the helmet-to-helmets and stuff like that, but it's not NFL referees.
Now, rule-wise, are you going by the standard NFL rules, standard college rules?
It's actually a mixture of XFL, NFL, and NCAA. Like, instead of a coin toss, there is a 25-yard run to the ball. Whoever gets to the ball first wins the toss.
So that's the XFL.
That's the XFL implement. So then that's when the five captains will come up and they'll say, I defer, I kick off, whatever I want to do. And you'll pick from there. That's kind of the weird thing. And if you when you catch the ball, you have to have 1 foot in bounds. But if you fall and you hit the ground, nobody touches you, you get back up and run. So it's a little bit of, you have to learn the league before anything, but once you get a hold of it, it's fun. It's just like playing backyard football with pads. You kind of make your own rules up as you go, I'd say. And one person will say, well, I had 1 foot in. Well, no, you didn't. It's kind of like that, but you still have your refs out there.
Right. It's just such a different world from, we're used to being at the high school games. Of course, we watch the heck out of, college and NFL football.
Now, I'm going to assume your league is open to anyone over the age of 18?
Anybody over the age of 18, if you have not graduated high school yet, I stress, graduate first before you come out there. I have had a couple players, talk to me from Campbell County and Cumberland Gap. If you play in this league and you come out there straight from high school, you're not eligible for NCAA. You are not eligible.
Oh yeah, that's definitely. At any level, you won't be eligible for NCAA.
At any level, you cannot go. So
it's worth going through the clearinghouse and at least see.
It's worth coming through. I put it to you like this: if you think that if nobody offers you by the end of your senior year and you are graduating in May, you can come out and try for our team. But the thing is I want everybody to know that college is first. Get out there, get your education before anything, and don't come up here and try to get, try to jump into football before you go in there and get your academics done, because I myself am in school, I know better, and you guys, you've known my family for my whole life.
Right.
They'll whoop me. So what I'm trying to do is stress, go to school first. But if you love the game and you really want to play, and you aren't going to college as far as football, if you're going to Rome State or somewhere like that, you can come play. I'm just asking you first, check your college options.
Great advice. with that, the insurance that you all offer, I don't know why anybody wouldn't play if they're physically able to do it.
Now let's actually, now that we've talked about you all, and we touched on it a little bit, let's talk about the Campbell County game a little bit Friday night. You know, this was by far the most hyped game of all time. Campbell County came out, and I would say they left it all on the field against Anderson County. You know, it came down literally. You know, I was in the press box getting stuff ready for the post game, but knowing the game wasn't over until at the very end when that interception was thrown.
I was very, very impressed with Campbell County. Coming from a former Campbell County player, Coach Price, you have done wonders with this team, wonders. And Ethan, the quarterback, Ethan Jeffers, I'm very impressed with you too. Torres, I've seen him as a kid, and I was completely blown away with y'all's performance. I'll honestly tell you that. I've never been to a Campbell County game that intense before in my entire life. I've grown up watching Chris Johnson. I grew up watching, you know, Tyler Doney and the Wells twins, and that environment honestly gave me chills.
Well, there was, you know, Ethan did have that interception at the end of it, but it was 3rd and 30 at the time, and there's only 30 seconds to go. He had to chunk that one down. There was people grumbling about that. He threw for 327 yards and had 3 touchdowns. The defense played solid. They got some stops when they needed to. And you had your team down there with a chance to win the game in the final 30 seconds. And since 2009, when Anderson County came back into this district, I don't think Campbell County had been within 28 points of them in any game. I believe that's what I heard. And the last 2 years, Anderson County had outscored Campbell County 70-12. And the program is a lot years ahead of where it was when the process took over. And just from this perspective of the number of players they have on the team, if nothing else. Because Coach Wells, I don't know, how many players are on the team by the end of your final year there?
At the end of my senior year, I would say there was maybe 30 players.
That was always the problem. It wasn't the Coach Wells. Coach Wells was a great coach. And you know, the 30 y'all that you all fielded, I'm sure you tried your best and did everything you could for Campbell County football. But now there's 60, 70 players out there, and that makes a difference. Because that's what you can go against every week when you're a 5A at school that plays these 5A, 6A teams. Everybody's got 70 players. And that's what you have to have. They finally have built the depth that's needed. And it's been a great testament to what Coach Wells did up there in the years they made the playoffs, because he was doing it with 35 or 40 kids. And it's just, they have managed to bring a lot of excitement, and it's the throwing the ball style and the high offense, high octane offense style. I mean, you win football games sometimes by playing it slower. Coach Wells had to play it slower because he didn't have the depth, but you win a lot of fans over when you're throwing it around for 325 yards a game and throwing 3 or 4 touchdowns a game, and you have speedsters like Torres and Joseph Elkins, Corey Phillips going over the middle. It's just, it's a great environment up there now. Campbell County football is really prospering. And really, pretty much everything from Coach Wells on, there was no Campbell County football history before Coach Wells arrived. I think the best team, Patrick, had 4 wins and
4 and 6.
maybe
We had a couple 4 and 6 records. And that was 89. Steve Rutherford went 4 and 6, and I honestly feel like that he would have fielded a pretty good team my senior year had they, for whatever reason, inexplicably fired him after 2 years.
Coach Wells has finally brought some stability to the program. It showed that Campbell County could win, and Coach Price has actually just been able to expand on that feeling that Coach Wells built up, and you know, they're doing well. I mean, that game, it's 1/10 of their season. It's 1/8 of their district schedule, and that was a toss-up game from the start. If you lose it, it hurts your feelings to lose any football game. But it's still no more important than Clinton this week at homecoming or Gibbs. That's the teams you have to beat. You have to beat Gibbs. You have to beat Clinton. You have to beat Carnes. You have to beat Hawes. They're the teams in your district that you definitely should beat. And if you beat those teams, you're still in position to make the playoffs. Campbell County's in a good position right now to be
already beat Central.
Yeah.
And if they're 5-1 with Oak Ridge coming to town, that's going to be another huge game.
What I think is that the Price twins brought some youth to this team. They brought a lot of people like me, I'm 4 years, almost 3 years out of high school, and I wanted to play for the Price Twins. They are the seniors now. We're freshmen my senior year, and to see Corey Phillips being a Brandon Long type receiver now, or seeing Nick Begley take over the Keenan Evans type spot of my senior year is amazing. Like I never honestly thought from my senior year to see these kids this grown up. I honestly didn't.
Just speaking of Keenan, Andrew Evans is his cousin.
Yeah.
And he is just a brutal death machine at that.
Yes, he is.
Outside linebacker. I mean, even when he's not hitting the ball carrier, when he's just crashing the line, somebody's feeling it.
I've not finished writing my story on the game yet, and I will this evening. And Andrew Evans is my defensive MVP of the game. He got 6 tackles. He had a huge sack that really put Campbell County in position to actually have a chance to win the game.
Now, I'm going to say this. Obviously, with Anderson Gaines, close proximity, a lot of people on that staff I know really well, people I played with, people I coached. I talked to the parents of one of Anderson County's coaches, and they could not stress enough how much the Price Twins have done for this program. It's easy to get caught up in the rivalry. But when it comes right down to it, all these guys have coached together, all these guys have played together. At the end of the day, like I said, it's Jonathan Chappell's mom I talked to. Of course, I actually coached with his dad. I actually would have played for his dad had he coached when I was in high school. Coached with him at the middle school. And he actually had me convinced to come to the high school and coach when he coached there. And I wanted to go to ETSU instead. But because I also wanted to further my academics rather than football, even though the academic thing at ETSU, we won't talk about that. But, I talked to Cindy, Jonathan's mom, whose other son, Jamie's coach at the College of Charleston. And they talk about what an improvement they've seen at Campbell County High School.
But here's the big thing about it. Campbell County's team's full of juniors or less. Nick Begley is a huge playmaking senior, and
Corey Phillips.
I believe Andrew Evans may also be. But I think that the 9 starters on offense, for instance, are junior or less. Campbell County's set up to be pretty good for the next few years. And I think as long as the prices stay, Campbell County's probably going to be competitive every year they're there.
And the middle school teams are having good seasons. The feeder system.
It's always been strange to me that Campbell County has struggled so much because Jacksboro, for instance, Jacksboro wins a lot of championships in their division of football. And LaFollette's had some pretty good teams over the years too. And I know they combine and it becomes a much bigger level of competition, but Campbell County or Jacksboro, for instance, they would beat the feeder schools from Doris and Lake City that feed Anderson County High School.
We used to beat Jefferson and Robertsville that fed Oak Ridge. More Jefferson than Robertsville. Robertsville was always the tough.
Yeah, they were tough.
And of course, now this week is homecoming, and that's fitting because we're gonna see 2 old Jacksboro coaches on the opposite sideline. As Sean Jesse and Rodney Ellison are both at Clinton. I saw you on Friday night hit Sean. Saw you doing the big chest bump with the quarterback. And of course, Rodney especially knows the process well. Coached him in middle school, and this is just going to be. And of course, Josh Kerr is their brother-in-law. This is the family reunion of a lot of coaching trees coming together.
Yeah, that familiarity, that makes it tough. And I believe that's what gave Clinton the edge last year. And Clinton managed to win the game in a moderate upset. It's probably the biggest upset I would say Campbell County had last year was actually losing to Clinton. I felt that's the only team that they lost to that they probably should have beaten. And this year, I know the Prices are really focused on this game, and just like they are on every game they coach. This is one you really want to take. It's one you really have to have if you're going to make the playoffs.
Kind of reminds me of the Super Bowl last year, the Harbaugh deal with San Fran and Baltimore.
Like I said, there's a lot of ties right there.
Clinton is what, 2-1 now, I think, and had a big 38-19 win last week over Gibbs. You played for Gibbs, you said, for a while. I'm not sure what level their program's at right now. I don't know if you keep up with it anymore or not.
I did play for Gibbs for, I'm gonna say 2 years instead of 3. But it was me. It was more, you know, when I was there, it was Andy Hibbett, me, Chris Legg. You know, we had a really good foundation of football team, especially the runners and the line. But I'll say it like this: just like Campbell County went through our struggles with having people come. Once you see your star athlete leave, like Chris Johnson did for us, for Campbell County, when Andy and Chris Legg and myself and the kicker even from Gibbs, Hensley, when they left, not a lot of people wanted to play anymore. You know?
And that was one of the just killers of Wells. I mean, he actually had not quite the 60s and 70s, but he had, you know, with the Johnson years, he was still finishing with 40, 45 players, which at the time was huge for Campbell County. And those couple of years when Stephen and Phillip played there, they had a pretty good core, but still, you know, just weren't quite enough.
Well, Clinton been able to put 38 up last week. I suspect this game may be a shootout. Though Campbell County's defense has played pretty strong.
I'll say this. I know Clinton's offense probably better than anybody but the main coach, because I used to coach against it constantly, because Rodney was the offensive coordinator and I was defensive coordinator. And it is wide open. He's like Justin now. He calls from the box. He calls it down to Sean. Sean signals the plays in. I talked to Rodney last night for a while, and it's going to be a shootout. I don't think they've, except for Anderson County, which is the one game they lost, they've not faced a defense like this, though.
Nick Begley is a monster in that middle. He honestly is. And you mentioned Andrew Evans. I knew his brother Chase, and Chase was a monster as well. He was actually at the game Friday. He reminds me of Chase immaculately. I mean, he is a picture-perfect defensive end. And also, I'm not sure of his name, but number 41 was a monster up the middle.
Well, that's Dylan Presnell.
Dylan Presnell. I was very impressed with him. He came off the ball.
And he's coming off ACL surgery. He was taken out early last season.
He came off the ball faster than I've seen anybody in a long time. And I know Clinton's offense also. I actually have a couple buddies that play there. Actually, I know their middle linebacker, Christian Begley, very well. He's good. He's a very good athlete. The toughest thing that I think Campbell County is going to face and is probably going to be that rush that Clinton's going to bring this year, because I know Christian, you know, he'll be coming up the middle. You know, he's an athlete because he played safety last year. But I honestly think that Campbell County their line's strong enough to hold it off, and Ethan's smart enough to get rid of the ball.
Well, you know, coming up the middle, I wrote about Patrick Wright, you know, a couple of weeks ago, and how steady he is at center, and how good he is at actually getting the snap off and getting in position to block. And you know, the guards are playing well, the tackles are playing well.
You know, the center, he's an overlooked member a lot of times, but he is the one person that is going to touch the ball every time. I mean, you know, you could technically direct snap to Cordell or Torres or somebody.
Well, yeah, you have Nick Bailey in the beast package occasionally.
Yeah.
And Patrick calls all the plays for the offensive line, too. He's pretty much the coach of the offensive line. He's one of, you know, their biggest assets up there.
So looking forward to Friday night. Hoping to see the Cougars get back on the winning track. Looking forward to seeing my old buddies. Fans, that about wraps up. Once again, you'll have tryouts Saturday at 3.
Saturday at 3.
Cove Lake State Park, by the softball field, I'm assuming.
Yeah, right below the basketball field.
Any
court, sorry.
Luck after these Cougars currently, after they finish their college careers, they'll be out playing for your successful team.
Hopefully, I really hope so.
Thank you all for coming on today. And we'll see you all next week.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.